Hello, it is Chamas, and today it's not gonna be like the previous videos. So basically, I'm just gonna talk a bit about the game, talking a bit about like kind of a summary of my playthrough and what's gonna happen after. So I just prepared about nothing. I'm just gonna go with what I have in my mind after completing Final Fantasy 16. Just so for the record, I finished the game half a week ago, so like 4 or 5 days ago. So I'll just go by what I remember. I haven't watched back what I did or anything. I'll just go with what I remember and how I felt during the game. I still made a few categories about what I want to say. So yeah, for the summary, I played 68 hours on this game. At least that's what the PlayStation menu told me. So, which is a fair amount for like a full-on playthrough from like start to finish. I did all the side quests. I did all the hunts from the first playthrough. I know there's the New Game Plus and I have no clue what it is, but haven't touched that yet. So yeah, I just did the story, the side quest, the hunt, the icon challenges as well. It's just the last thing I've done before completing the story mode. So yeah, that's what I've done, and that's from where I'm gonna start my kind of summary of the game, what I feel about it, and I kind of feel like I want to talk about it. It's most likely not gonna be interesting, but I don't care. Just do it because I want to. And yeah, then talking about what's gonna happen next, because I'm not done with Final Fantasy 16 yet. So, I'm gonna talk firstly about the performance of the game, as in the technical performance. So it looks great. It looks great. I've seen a few hiccups here and there graphically. On some side quests, Clive's face felt weird, like it was a low LOD model and not the actual good one. But it was very minor. I saw it because I tend to see those kind of details, but it did not impede the game. Regardless of that, it's very glitch free from what I've seen. Haven't encountered any like glitch or major glitch that was actually impeding the progress. It was very smooth. FPS wise, I was in performance mode, so it was not capped to 30 FPS. And it was very... If I had to like put a downside on the performance, it would be on the FPS. So far, it did not feel that stable in performance mode. Sometimes it was at about 60, sometimes it felt more choppy at about 40. I don't have a counter, I just go by how it looked like. But yeah, I could feel like some areas or with some effects, the FPS dropped and then came back. It's, you know, I think it's the lowest point of the performance category, I would say. Just the FPS stability in performance mode. I don't know about the fidelity or like the high quality mode, which capped at 30 FPS, if it's always at 30 or if it has dropped to under 30 in that mode. I don't know, I haven't touched that. But regardless of it, it was good looking, at least good looking enough for me. Some landscape looked very good, like some maps with the sunset looked very good. The cutscenes were very good. Like the only thing that was really bugging me down graphically was Clive's face on some cutscenes, and it was only in the side quests, not in the main scenario. So maybe it's an oversight, maybe it's just something that didn't load properly after some hours on the game, because I mainly did sessions of 4 hours straight, so I don't know. But yeah, this is something that I've seen and that was a bit like bugging me down, but that and the FPS are basically the lowest points. Other than that, it was just fine performance wise and graphically as well. Also, I did tend to see on the last maps, it was more heavy as well on the FPS, from what I remember. Because of so many things going on the screen, it was a bit of a struggle sometimes. So yeah, I think, well, I don't know how, but if they can fix the FPS issues on the performance mode, that would be very nice. But again, I don't know. There's just got like an update just dropped today to fix a few issues here and there, so I don't know how it feels like in the game. But yeah. Then gameplay-wise / difficulty. I've seen on the internet many opinions, which were going like in every direction. And mine is that gameplay-wise, it is not press square simulator. It is not that. Obviously, you're gonna spend most of the time on this, but there is so many like combos possible, and I haven't touched many of them because I had a gameplay and I was just kept with it without the need of changing. Plus other stuff, like I just felt for the end of the game I would just go with Phoenix, Shiva, and Ramu. So basically Joshua, Jill, and Sid, well, Sidolphus, which just felt fitting story-wise. So that's what I kept. But that's just me, you know, it's just not gameplay-wise, or just, it's not, maybe not the most OP or whatever, it's just, it felt right to stay with that. And I'm most likely gonna change for the New Game Plus. But yeah, gameplay-wise, it's very varied. There's lots of combo, there's lots of combinations. The fact you can change between combats whatever you want, or even like the skills you get with the ability points. You can just reset that, get all the points again, and then take something else. So whatever you've done, it is back. You can get it back, reset it, and just do something else without any penalty, which is very good. It just adds a lot of flexibility. And if you did something wrong, you can always backtrack that and just start it again, which is very good. I've also seen that there is like some auto assign for the ability points. So for people who are not very confident in that, it's pretty nice as well. So yeah. But yeah, for the fighting, it was very varied. I think at least maybe some monsters you could predict a bit too much what you could have, like what attack would do and etc. But again, it is the main story mode. I don't expect like heavy difficulty, nor that I would like to. And I think that's gonna happen in the New Game Plus. But it remains to be seen. I haven't started the New Game Plus at least. Well, not now. But yeah, gameplay-wise, it was enjoyable. Once you find your mark, you just go with it, and you dodge. You just equip your new gear and all. And as I've done all the side quests, I've had a very good gear by the end of the game. So basically, I've had the good that stuff, like the yellow weapon, the yellow accessories. I kept one. It was the Berserk ring, and then other stuff. I can't remember, but yeah, it was good. It was just good. I think it was all yellow aside the Berserk ring. So whenever you were dodging and have a good timing on dodging, you had like 5 seconds of boost in your DPS, which was very enjoyable. But yeah, it was varied enough for me at least. I don't have many complaints about this, and I haven't, like, aside the Akon challenges, which actually gave me a glimpse of what the other Akon abilities can do. I just kept with my 3, and I'm pretty sure like other people just found their 3 preferred and just go along with it. So yeah, there's not one way to play the game, which is actually cool. And having one character as your protagonist compared to, like, I mean, you have this your party members that changes along the way. So sometimes you have Sidolphus, sometimes you have Jill, sometimes you have Joshua, sometimes you have some other people, sometimes you have Gav or whatever. But you can't control them, so they just do whatever they feel like. And didn't really bother me. It's obviously a bit different from what I've experienced, and I guess I should have talked about this a bit earlier, but my experiences on Final Fantasy can be summarized as FF7 Remake, FF13, only the first one, FF10 completed aside Penance, and FF14. I don't think I miss one. I don't think. So it's always pretty much party members you can select, or you can like actually do things with them. But this time you only control Clive, and you could only control Clive's abilities. And some may like it, some may not. Again, I was fine with this. To only focus on one character was like, okay, so whatever Clive's is having is whatever the party is gonna have, and then there's gonna be extra DPS or not, depending of like who's ever in your party. And yeah, it was okay. Maybe I would have liked some possibilities on, like, let's say if you get killed by you do a hunt and you get killed by the monster, to have maybe the possibility with a special item you crafted, or like an ability or whatever. I know there is one item you can use, which is the turbo ether, or like an item you can only use once. When you get killed, you come back to full life. It's basically like a second life, and I think that could have been implemented, that one of your one of your party members is actually doing that, so it kind of res you, and not having that doing on yourself. Maybe that would have been good, like you just activate that item on your party member, and then it's your party member that res you. I don't know how it works because I never used it. Maybe it works that way, but I don't think so. I just think you just get killed and it's like, oh, come back up. So yeah, maybe like having a few options, not like controlling the party members, but controlling what special abilities they could have. Just one slot. Maybe that could have been good, but it's maybe nitpicking. But yeah, it's my view on it. But again, that did not bother me in the gameplay. I have had a few game overs, like I'm nowhere near flawless gameplay wise. But yeah, the gameplay was enjoyable, and that's what matters the most to me. It was enjoyable, and I liked whenever I had a fight, I liked it. I still remember that hunt on the level 50 dragon, and I wasn't even level 40, I was like 38 or something. So I really had to concentrate to not get killed, because one attack, it was 1k 7 damages, and I had like 2k 3 HP. So yeah, get an attack and it's basically game over. But yeah, some fights were more easy than others. Some once you leveled up, the S ranks were just maybe a bit more than challenging. But yeah, it's like overall it was enjoyable. And speaking of enjoyable, I have to talk about the story. The story. I don't know on what I can begin. But to give a context about this, before playing, I've only seen the first trailer when they announced the game, or around when they announced the game, and then all the subsequent content they released on socials, either like screenshots or videos, trailer, whatever. I haven't watched it. I just completely ignore that. And so when I went into Final Fantasy 16, and I actually used the demo to give me, let's say, a taste of the game and see if I would actually dig that or not. And after finishing the demo, I was like, okay, let's go. So I'm one of those last-minute players to get on board in the game, to actually like give the context. And to give more context about the story, know that I'm a very regular player of FF14, and it is the same I believe it's the same team, or like, at least it's the same management or head people that are doing 14, the MMO, and 16. It's like Creative Business Unite 3 from Square Enix. And, well, the story itself, I'm gonna talk about the story itself and then go to specifics. The story itself has, well, I would say it's just it is a Final Fantasy structure in some ways. I haven't got very surprised on like how it was going, and like, okay, you got the plot, you know, like once you've got the plot, you pretty much have a roadmap of what's gonna happen. Fairly early in the game, it's just a matter of not where but how to go and how to defeat and what's gonna happen. But the story itself, like, and its resolution, again, I should have said that, and I wasn't gonna put that in the title, but I should have said that earlier. It's not gonna be spoiler free at all. It is not gonna be spoiler free at all. And yeah, I think what's where I was surprised the most was at the beginning when discovering what happens. And once you get a glimpse of like how the world goes, what is the curse, what is the mother crystals and everything, you're like, okay, I think I can foresee where this can go. But yeah, the story and its resolution just felt in line with the universe and what the protagonists wanted to achieve. So no big surprise, and this is where I'm gonna go into more specifics. I realized very early on how it will end. Not the fight or anything, but on Clive's fate. Unless I misunderstood something in the ending, or like couldn't see it, because, not gonna lie, at the end of the story I wasn't feeling very good. But yeah, like when you go at Martha's Rest, you have to go to the church and you see like what the curse is, and like people dying and just turn to rocks. And then I was thinking, well, if that's what bearers / branded end up by using too much magic, how our protagonist is gonna end, considering he's using a lot of, you know, powers, magical powers or Akon powers through the game. And then I quickly realized that there's one way it's gonna end for Clive. He's just like, whenever it's gonna end, the story is gonna end, he's gonna turn to stone. And that's pretty much what happened. So I don't know if it's because I could foresee that way earlier and just connected those two quickly, or more quickly than others. I don't know. I don't know if others got surprised by this or not. But like, and it's very early in the game, like it's maybe the first 10 hours, and I quickly realized that Clive is not gonna make it. And I was also wondering for Jill, because she was dominant, so same shit. Turns out Jill should be fine because Clive took her power, and then the curse is not gonna spread any further. I think so. I'm not sure. But yeah, I quickly realized. But obviously, you don't want to believe that, because you're like, I want a happy ending. But I felt like this Final Fantasy wouldn't be as light as some others on the ending. It felt like, it really felt dark on some side of the stories, like blood everywhere. I'm not a fan of blood, and I think that sometimes might be a bit too much. But yeah, it's my preferences. Maybe there were a way to turn off the blood, but didn't see it. Some explicit content as well. I wasn't expecting that. I knew it, like I think it's rated mature, like rated M or 18 plus. But yeah, I was surprised at first when I've seen like those scenes. I was like, okay. But again, that serves the story and that serves to define the characters. And every character in the story has a very defined role. And I'm yet to see a character which had, you know, And that's when I'm gonna begin the parallel with FF14, like kind of villain which had, I mean, maybe Ultima in some ways, but it like didn't feel like a villain that was having, on his own view, a good, like very solid point of doing what he does. Because Ultima's basically is just like Ultima's goals is just, you know, get wiping everything and just starting again, because like he did what he should have. So instead of working on what he have, he just like wipe everything and start over. And I'm gonna compare that to Emmett Silk's motives, and it's like having a villain that kind of has the same goal but doesn't have the same way of doing it because of like being ancient or whatever. Maybe I missed that part, but it's just, I don't know. I felt like every character, even side characters, had their very specific role, and they like, it didn't like had a double lecture. That's what I'm trying to like explain, is that I don't see any character which had a double lecture aside Clive, when he actually realized he's the dominant of Ifrit. And that again, that goes back to the surprise stuff I was mentioning earlier. I kinda quickly realized he was the dominant of fire. I don't know why, but I just felt, yeah, like the guy he's chasing is himself since all of that time. And I mean, you know that pretty early, and that's why there's the accept the truth. But I felt like it was, okay, so guy, you're chasing yourself, and once you're gonna know, it's gonna be a bad time. And indeed it was. But yeah. And maybe it's also because I'm playing 14. As I said, 16 and 14 Steam are basically the same unit. So there is some common stuff, like even some fonts that they use on the UI is the same from 14 to 16. And I think there's like a lot of structural points which basically are the same. So if it goes that way, it's gonna end that way. And maybe that's the lecture I've got. So maybe it's why I've got less surprised. But yeah, the story itself was fine. I felt the story, obviously. The songs from Soken and his team was very good. Like, he's known for being very good, and he delivered. Often I see myself just, you know, going to a playlist on YouTube and just having some songs of FF16 playing around, because it's actually good songs. But yeah, it is, like, I saw where it went, and even if I was hoping for a better end for Clive, and maybe there is something I miss and he has a better end than what has been shown. I know Joshua survived, because at the end of the game, like, when Clive got Ultima's power, because he can just take the power of, like, dominance or whatever, he just, like, the big scar on the chest of Joshua disappeared when he, like, touched his hand on his chest, which for me, that was the fact that he healed Joshua. And then he just, like, killed the mother, I would say the mother crystal, because, like, it's just the last one created from the remnants of the others, kind of. And at the end, there's, like, I think it's like aeons later, there's the book called Final Fantasy, written by Joshua Rosefield. So I believe Joshua survived, but Clive did not. Also I wonder if in the New Game Plus, because there's a Final Fantasy mode as well, if we're not gonna get extra content, as in extra lore pieces. I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I'm wondering. But yeah, it seems like Clive is just dead, and Joshua just survived, and there's just no magic when that happened. Well, at the end of the game, there's no magic. Magic doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, and it also felt and it's maybe why I was less surprised by the story, despite the story being good. It's maybe why I was a bit less surprised by some stuff happening, is it felt like there is some common ground with 14 on the main protagonist, so the Warrior of Light in 14, and Clive in 16. Even the character design, like the little bird, the way he looks, like I've seen some common traits. But I was thinking, like a quarter into the game, that Clive will be what the Warrior of Light can't in 14, aka kind of same goals of like saving the world or just helping and everything, having the common basis, but having way different end. Because basically, like the Warrior of Light in 14 can just do whatever class he wants and just swap whatever he wants, which is kind of the case in 16, where you can just change what icon abilities you can use whenever you want. But I felt like as the Warrior of Light has to survive to continue the MMO, Clive has to die to like go to do the counterpoint of 14 in some ways. I really felt like the intention of 16 being what 14 can't on some aspects, including this one. And even though I felt Clive's end very badly, even though I saw it coming, I just wouldn't accept it. But that's just me. It's just, you know, after reasoning, it's like, yeah, it's really like what FF14 can't. And it's not a bad thing, but yeah, again, that maybe have killed a bit of the surprise effect I could have had. But like the story is solid, maybe a few points could have had more like talking points, especially Leviathan. It was mentioned like a few times and nothing else. So I don't know if it's gonna be like, if there's gonna be any extensions, there's gonna be like DLC content, free or not, I don't know. But I feel like some areas could be more explored, but it was not. And then we go to the side quests, because, I mean, to just summarize the story, I think it's solid. A few things could have maybe been more developed. But because of my experience in 14, I could see some strings that was played out in 16. Which is not a bad thing, but yeah, it's just how it is. But yeah, I still enjoyed it and felt the story when it had to be. And like the joys, like especially Jill and Clive's couple. Again, I haven't done many Final Fantasies, but just having them explicitly showing that they are a couple and together, and not like hiding that, being like it kind of how can I say that, unfulfilled couple before a sacrifice or something, I think was very good and a bit refreshing from my own experience. And I was really happy that they actually went full in. Okay, they are together. It's not like maybe, but maybe not. No, they are. It's not the point of discussion. It's even said in the like the graph where you have all the characters. It's just like there's an arrow in love. It's like can't do anything. But yeah, I really appreciated that. Maybe Jill at some point was a bit too absent as well. She would have maybe deserved a bit more screen time. And not only be like a kind of love interest, but more of a fighter. But again, like the way it was panned out was fine enough. And yeah, like again, I say that maybe more of the fighting. It's a matter of what you gain and what you lose. Like if Jill is more on screen and more in the fight, maybe that will go against the fact they are actually a couple, and Clive wants to protect Jill and not have her on the field, to actually protect her and not use magic too much so the curse doesn't spread. So yeah, it's a matter of balance, and yeah, when you put it into that perspective, it's good enough. It's good. But yeah, the side quests. I tried to make them as soon as it was available, because I felt like I would miss some like a pivotal point in the plot, and like, oh, it's done, you can't do them anymore. It's a bag of mixed feelings. Some were super good, Like the one, like especially the last ones with Cav, with like when you have like development characters from the key characters, so Cav, Blackthorn, all that stuff, and even some like good cutscenes as well. And some were just like, yeah, help, kill, bye, a bit, which is fine. It's a side quest. But yeah, there is some many good side quests, like when you reunite with Ambrosia. I was like, wait, why Chocobo missing an eye? That's the Chocobo, like maybe like a few seconds before the flashback stuff. It's like, wait a minute. And then it was actually Ambrosia. It's like, oh cool. And then you can like ride Ambrosia pretty much everywhere aside the towns. A lot of like side content, a lot of side like having the Chocobo, having the yellow stuff, all the yellow equipment. Lots of character development as well. Like that, again, that scene where like, or that quest where Clive and Jill are just like going back to, how can I say, that part in Sunbreak, with all the white flowers on the ground, and they're just like together and enjoying their moment. That was very good kind of quests, lots of development, and kind of felt like the Elpis flowers in 14 as well, like the kind of how it was displayed. It's like the symbol of hope in some ways. And yeah, like all of that development, Gav's like when Gav and Clive just say, yeah, you're my brother and whatnot. Even though it kind of, it was like so much character development that something will happen after. It's kind of the trait of this game. Like if something is developed a lot, it's because something bad is gonna happen after. And that was the case. So that goes for the story and the side quests. But yeah, it's a mix of mixed feelings of the side quests. Some very, very, very good, and I will tend to remember only those. And so when a bit more peddling, like, I need this, can you just get it, kill that monster, come back, okay, cool, next. But again, that are side quests. It's also meant to like increase the number of hours. And I will tend to remember like the good ones, and the more quote-unquote boring ones were not that long to do. So sure, it wasn't as fun, but it wasn't long either. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it's pretty good overall on story and side quests. I'm also gonna talk about the hunt. So it's a point I haven't like typed, but I'm gonna talk about the hunt. And yeah, it's just basically from like, this hunt is very reminiscent of the 14 hunt system. It's the same icon, it is the same kind of, I mean, the ranking are like from, let's say, C to S, which is very classic, but the way it was presented, the way you had to do it and everything was very reminiscent of how 14 works, which is again kind of proves the ties between both of them. Like I'm 2 steps away to say maybe like both like FF14 and FF16 worlds could be part of the same universe. I don't think it is, but you know, sometimes it's just like maybe that world could live somewhere in that universe, you know, in like some other timeline, or not timeline, but some other era in time. But again, I don't know. And it's most likely not the case, but it would be funny. Anyway, the hunt was really reminiscent of 14. How it works, basically either you have to find where it is, or you just you have a location and you find it on the map, you go and you kill it. Very simple. Some bosses were very easy, some were hard. I don't recall a game over on each of them. Or yes, I did on the first S rank. And on another one, I had game overs. I think I got 2 within the whole hunt. But yeah, the difficulty was there. Not too difficult, so it's still like, you know, you can do it, even though you're not as skilled as, let's say, like a very, very good player. But still challenging on some, which was part of the thing which was needed for hunts. Also the hunts being needed to have materials to craft your very good gear at the end of the game. So like everything, like the side quest and hunt were going together in some ways. So that was very good. And yeah, that was like what it is, just like pick your mob and go for it. And also we'll talk about the icon challenges. I don't know if it's because I was tired on that day, but I just, like, the challenges felt like the difficulty just felt all over the place. I don't know if it's me, it's most likely me, but like I passed some icon challenges with ease on the first try. Like Odin, Odin's challenge, I never played the Odin skills before, so I just discovered on the fly, and I just completed it easily. Bahamut was fairly easy. The two which had the more grip with was Titan and Garuda. Titan took me a good hour, I think. Garuda took me 2 hours. And it's because I couldn't like figure out what was the combo which would give a lot of time. I had to check guides on, or not guides, but like videos on the internet of how they've done it to actually like complete the challenge by like 4 seconds. So I don't know if it's because something did not click on Garuda's kills, or if the difficulty was all over the place. But yeah, like when I combined two, for me, yeah, some were just first try and some was stuck 2 hours on it. So yeah, it's, I don't know. Like again, maybe there's a part of the game where maybe it wasn't as balanced as the other stuff. But I will also say that there's a part of me which was not having the click on some icons more than others. So yeah, but overall, it was funny, it was different. At least it gives you a motive to try out every icon, which is good, because you can basically go with the first 3 icons you got. So you could go with Phoenix, Garuda, and Ramu. And Ramu for the entire story, which is the first 3 icons you've got, if I'm not mistaken. And just do the whole game. And those challenges kind of gives you a glimpse of, okay, it is how it's how it works, and it's how it like plays. So I feel it was a good thing, even though it was side content. It was still good to actually have a glimpse. If you don't want to play it in your like main scenario, you can still enjoy like some fights with it and just have a very good like glimpse of how it is. And to be fair, I think I might play with like Odin and other stuff on the New Game Plus, which kind of spoils my last point: the future. Again, this this is something I just do for myself, really. So like if there's 1 or 2 people watching, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, like I just don't aim anything. I just play it and share the stuff. And if people just watch, well, that's it. I mean, if there's none, then that's it. I like, to be fair, this the whole section is more for me to have like a VOD of what I've done, more than aiming or expecting people to watch it, because there's like plenty other people doing it way better than I do. And again, I think of Dansko 8, which does a very good job of this. But yeah, like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stream, well, I'm gonna do the New Game Plus. I still don't know how it works or anything, if I have to load the save I've done at the end of the game, or if I have like to click the New Game Plus. I don't know. I feel like New Game Plus will just start from 0, and if I continue, I will start with what I have. But with the New Game Plus, I'll see whenever I'm gonna, you know, do it. It's not gonna be now. I'm still gonna give it some more time. I don't want to burn myself on 16. But the only change that's gonna happen is I'm gonna do it with the mic open this time. So I may talk or may not talk during that whole stuff. But in this time frame, I will just speak whenever I have something to say or not. And then just it will go as it did. If there is no, like, if I see there is no new stuff, I'm just gonna pass the cutscenes. And I don't expect anything to be new. But yeah, I'm just gonna do the New Game Plus, see what it has to offer, and ultimately, I aim for the Platinum Trophy. Right now, I am at 60%, 65%. There is some trophies which are hidden, so I don't know what it is, but I fully expect like it's completing some stuff on New Game Plus and having new gear, because I think like there were a thing that popped up that says you have access to new gear. The new cap level is 100, so I assume it was 50 for the first playthrough. So I expect like new stuff, new gear to have, and trophies related to that. There is trophies related to completion of some stuff in the game, in New Game Plus. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. But yeah, I do aim to have the Platinum Trophy. And once I've got the Platinum Trophy, I can just stop the 16, unless there's like extensions or whatsoever. And that's gonna be the future of the 16. I don't know where I'm gonna stream it. I'm mostly gonna stream it on YouTube. And so it just like the video is saved instantly and I don't need to swap it from Twitch to YouTube. And then whenever it's gonna be out, it's gonna be 7 not remake, Rebirth, and I can't wait for it. But yeah, to give a conclusion of 16, solid game, solid story. If you, and again, it's tainted by my own experience, but if you played 14, you can see some strings being pulled out in 16, as it shares some same structural stuff. Plus the Easter eggs. I haven't talked about the Easter eggs, but there's like not loads, but plenty enough, and I think I missed 90% of them. But yeah, there is like, it's solid. The side quests are some very, very good, some just a bit more peddling, but it's just side quests. Like it could even be 2 categories of side quests, like the lower side quest stuff and maybe the more lore dependent, on giving more depth of the lore in some others. Like it could have been the green and the blue side quest or something like that. It's pretty much like the yellow side quest and the blue side quest on 14. I think it both were under the same category, but it could have been split into 2. And yeah, the gameplay was fun. At least I enjoyed it, even though having one character, and if he's KO'd besides the other being still up, is a bit, I think could have been handled a bit better. But other than that, it was very solid. And yeah, like I enjoyed the 68 hours of the game. The ending did hit me harder than expected, despite being prepared for it for a long time. And yeah, that's a Final Fantasy right, regardless of what people may say, but everyone has the right to say they don't like it as well. But I did. So yep, I'll be back whenever for the New Game Plus. And yeah, I hope it's gonna be fun, but I expect to have a hard time on the New Game Plus. So yeah, I'll see whenever I do it, but when I do, well, it's gonna be on stream. So take care and bye-bye.